Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Introducing our sponsors, LAVA-LITE. LAVA-LITE Plus, the orange one. LAVA-LITE Plus is a natural grow media all-rounder. It's perfect for borders and great as a pot topper, both in the home and the garden. It offers thermal protection for cold winter nights, as well as holding up to 25% moisture. Look out for it online and in your local gardening stores. Hey guys, I'm here today at Morel in the south of France to discover all about cyclamen. I'm with a wonderful guy who is Guy Scherzer. And tell us about your role here at Morel and what you guys do for cyclamen, because this is my second visit now and I absolutely love coming here. It is gorgeous. So tell us all about Morel and yourself, please, Guy.
Well, thank you, Michael. You're very welcome with us. We're glad to have you here. I'm a global sales manager at Morel. I am with the company actually for 35 years. It is a family business and I grew with the family business. So our company is a centennial company. And we have been in cyclamen for as long as I was with the company and many generations before. So it is a crop that is deeply rooted to the heart of the family Morel members. And we're really specialized in breeding this. So if you want to hear something about the history, we started as growing, the grandfather Morel started growing cyclamen as a normal horticulturist. And then it's his son, Charles Morel, who moved to south of France and started breeding with open pollinated varieties. And then came one of his sons, Guy Morel. He started to breed for F1 hybrids. And so this has developed ever since the 80s into a very specialized breeding company for creating new varieties. And so we have both the breeding activity and the seed production activity here in Fréjus.
Okay, and just for listeners, let's just jump in and explain an F1 hybrid and why they're important as well.
So the difference when you have natural pollinations, which is called open pollinated, basically it can be the bees that do the pollination and may cross a white cyclamen, bring the pollen of a white cyclamen onto a red cyclamen, and then it creates it will make a seed pod and create a variety, but it's not so much controlled. When you do breeding for F1 hybrid lines, it is very simple. It's the rules of the basic propagation and genetic rules from Mendel. You try to give different characteristic to parent lines. So for instance, if you have a nice red color that has a large flower, but maybe is a little bit small on the foliage, and you have another red that has maybe a smaller flower but makes a bigger foliage, and you would like to combine these two. You can do it in one step and then you see the results, or you can try to do that on several generations to be sure that the one plant with the large flower, that this large flower characteristic is really dominant. On the same time, on the other line, the one with the bigger foliage, if you're sure that this big foliage characteristic is dominant, then when you do that on 3-4 generations, you have distinctive characteristics. And F1 hybrid is basically you do the marriage. So the breeders at Morel, they are putting lines together, they're creating marriages, and the result of that marriage makes a red with a large flower and a large canopy, and making a big volume plant, if that is the target. And you can repeat that depending on the characteristic you're looking at.
That's cool. That's one of the best descriptions of F1 hybrid I ever had. Thank you very much. But of course, the seed from that won't come true, will it? Because you need to do the cross every time in order to create that crop. So it's quite labour intensive. This is part of the reason why it's more expensive seed, isn't it?
It is very labour expensive because all is done by hand. So it requires an organization here. The breeders decide on which parent lines they will need to cross with which others. And of course, we need to have processes in place to be sure that everything is carefully monitored, that the plants are healthy, growing, and try to achieve as many production as possible. But we work with nature, and sometimes nature reserves you quite good surprises.
So let's talk about cyclamen as a whole, because we're standing in the trial ground here. There is so much colour. I've getting a little bit of fragrance from various varieties as well. But let's talk about how people would use cyclamen, which I often call a cool season plant, because they can be grown indoors or outdoors. And I know that you've got an outstanding label on the ones that can be grown outdoors. But just explain to us the life cycle of a cyclamen. When do they naturally come into flower? And indeed, what do they do when they're not in flower? Are they perennials? Tell us how to use them in the garden, please.
Well, there's several species of cyclamen. We work exclusively with the cyclamen persicum species, which is commonly called the florist cyclamen. So usually the seeds are sown beginning of the year between January and April. And depending if you are working with long growing varieties, they take 36 to 38 weeks from seed to be in flower. Or some faster varieties like the miniatures, they flower after 22 to 24 weeks. So you have this time frame difference. So this is what the breeding has made this time shorter. Because before the F1 hybrids, most commonly growers would grow plants over 1 year. So like 15 or 16 months. So they would really overwinter them. In summer they get into a dormancy period, and then they flower again the winter after. This has been cut, that growing cycle, by doing the F1 hybrid breeding. It is a house plant because in the past houses were not heated as much as they are, but depending on the countries, it is an outdoor plant. Like in UK, you use a lot of miniatures to put them outside. In Italy, in Spain, in south of France, they use a lot of plants also to put outside, even to do some landscaping. So it is very variable depending on the condition, but it is not a perennial. Cyclamen persicum can eventually stand a cool night frost of -1, -2. If it warms up again in the day, like in climates like we have here on the Mediterranean, but it will not stand a longer night frost. So it is not a perennial. If you want to go into perennials, you need to look for Cyclamen coum or Cyclamen hydrifolium or this kind of different botanical cyclamens.
But if we have a relatively mild winter, say in the UK, they're likely to come through? Sometimes with a little dusting of snow on top?
Eventually. Actually, Cyclamen has a comb, so it's not a bulb, it is a comb. And this comb, I like to say, it is like a memory chip of the plant. So
like that.
During the way it is grown, if it has had a hot temperature in summer, it will accumulate some feed reserves, some nutrients in the comb, and put it up back into his vegetation and into the flower when it needs to be reproducible again. So this comb, if you plant the cyclamen in your garden and it is a little bit covered and does not freeze, when you have planted it, let's say in September, it can overwinter in UK, and you will have a beautiful surprise in spring to see all of a sudden a cyclamen flower popping up, which is from your persicum. As an example, in my personal garden, I have a plant that is sitting there for 20 years.
Really?
And we get sometimes...
With a big comb now? Or?
It has, of course, a comb the size of a potato, but... I didn't do anything, so it can survive like that.
Well, my grandma used to have some cyclamens, obviously quite old varieties, and in the summer I always remember she'd lay the pots on the side, let them completely dry out, and then bring them back to life, say September, October, I guess.
That is a perfect way to do it. because they go in that summer dormancy period, and then they are likely to come back again as soon as the nights get cooler again. So nowadays we have, over the last years, we have a September that is warmer and warmer and warmer. So probably if you start watering them again end of September, they will first pop up new leaves, and you'll get new flowers then a couple of weeks later.
Because the main season, I know you guys are just like selling the seed, so you're not selling the plants here, but obviously you've got a network of growers you work with. But when would we see cyclamen generally in the garden centres? From September?
In UK, you have some from July.
Oh, really?
July, August. The peak season being September, of course. And depending on the areas south of Europe, you would see the first ones in September when it starts getting a little bit cooler, and mainly in winter then.
Okay, excellent. And so kind of obviously your focus is on indoor and outdoor, but primarily indoor, and then you test them for outdoor, or what kind of leads the breeding?
Actually, it is more the smaller flowered varieties or the mid-sized flower varieties that show better performances outdoor for two reasons. One, they bring a big flush of flower, which means even if you have one flower that is damaged, maybe because it got a little bit of rain and the flower is not so nice anymore, you can pull it away and you still have a nice bouquet of flowers. But also, they are more resistant, they are more tolerant to the outdoor conditions. So this is what has led to the development of a lot of new breedings in the minis and the mini flowers. And large flowers, they are actually more as a gift plant. Because you can make plants of a bigger volume. And so this is
more likely to be sitting indoors sometimes.
Exactly, indoors. I would think the best position for a cyclamen nowadays is on a balcony. Or at the entry of a house, which is usually protected by a porch, because they will have the cool temperatures and a little bit of shelter. And they will thrive for months if they're in that condition.
And of course you've had lots of new varieties coming through over the years, but the one that really got, I think, the attention of a lot of the public in the UK was the Absolute Morel, which is kind of one of the first truly fragrant varieties.
It's actually a breeding breakthrough, and because it is from the flower size, it's a type of flower that we call Victoria, with reference to the queen, because it has a little crown on the top of the flower, and that crown is of the same color as the bottom of the flower, which is what we call the eye of the cyclamen. And so it makes a very nice designed, elegant plant. But the top is that it has a delicate fragrance, a little bit lemonish tones, a little bit lily of the valley tones.
Yes.
And not only this, but it has stunning performances outside. So this one really has it all. So we're glad that it got the attention of the public.
Definitely. And it was an exclusive through Not Cuts, which was great because a lot of garden centres in the UK are now focusing more on new and exclusive varieties, which is great. You know, I'm a boy from the mail order plant world, and so it's nice to see that garden centres are showcasing new breeding, such as yours. But you've got another one coming soon. You've got a double flowered variety, haven't you, that we've seen here this year?
This one is another surprise. It is called Petit Moulin, which means little windmill. Because it has, instead of 5, it has 10 flower petals. So it makes a very full flower. The shape of the plant is different from what we are now used to see with very central flowering. That one is kind of scatters the flower all around the plant, which gives it a little bit of a natural look, a wide look. It comes in a range of tones, with white with eye, light rose with eye. And this one has an extraordinary characteristic of holding the flowers for one flower will last minimum 50 days.
Wow.
This is really long. And so while that one flower keeps its good quality, the others are coming. And at the end you have a plant with a full cover of flowers, which looks like a long-lasting bouquet, basically.
It's beautiful. Why are the flowers being produced in a different formation? Because indeed they're not all in the centre. And now you've said it, I can see this with the variety.
This is the work of the breeders. In the past with OP, the flowers were a little bit scattered around the canopy, and the breeders decided that it may look nicer to have the bouquet very much centered. So they did select the parent lines that had this characteristic. But we had exchanges with visitors who said, well, sometimes they find this looking a little bit industrial. And they were kind of focusing themselves on plants that didn't have that habit. And so the breeders got that into their breeding program and said, maybe we have something to do. And then they found this specific double flower, which had a totally different look, and which indeed was looking very nice. So there's always a difference between what you think is perfect when you are into a professional production and what is very lovely, very delicate when you want to have it at home.
Very nice. Wow. Sorry, guys, you'll have to excuse the slight natural greenhouse noises, but we are in a trial greenhouse. So just origami.
Yes.
That is a very interesting variety. Talk to us about that one, because much smaller flower, it almost looks like a rockery type.
It definitely is.
It's a real novelty.
It is a novelty. It is a different breed from the Victoria types, so having the crown and having the eye of the flower. But it is really dwarfened. So the flower almost looks like it has been folded like origami paper. And indeed, this is an old bulletproof plant for outside because it will never get botrytis. It will stand. So like a rockery plant, it's a good description. Definitely.
Well, I planted it into a very low container on a patio table outside with some miniature hebes, some calicifalis, kind of dinky little leaved plants. And I imagine they like that one in Japan. Am I right? Yeah.
They do, because they have a very delicate taste for combining plants and making very original. Each country is very different in that respect.
Yeah, talk to us about that, because it is very remarkable, like different ones that sell in Northern Europe to Southern Europe, colours and shapes, isn't it?
Colours and shapes are different. I was thinking in UK people pay a nice attention also to the different leaf forms, leaf colours. More north, maybe more some of the pastel tones. And when you go more south, the colors need to be really strong and intensive. And this is what we are breeding for as well, because with high light conditions like we have here on the Mediterranean, if the color is a little bit pale or a little bit dull, if it's not solid, you will see that, and then they will get thrown out of the breeding process. But yet the tastes are very different. And we are fortunate to have a large range to offer so that everybody can find its liking.
Well, what I found really interesting when I visited the poinsettia trials in Holland last year, they were putting some under the bench in order to see the colour in lower light.
Yeah.
Because some of these cyclamen would obviously be in a house where the colour might appear different. So maybe you have to select brighter for those.
That is
to accommodate.
Yeah, that is true. Depending on the place where the plants are positioned in the house, the color effect will be different. So this is
okay. And just a last kind of point on your breeding, like obviously all the time you're looking to improve, get better plants, better foliage, kind of more compact foliage, because of course there's so many things you have to consider: timing, production, transport, flowering, a lot of stuff that is considered even before you can have something unique for the consumer, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All these parameters go all along the chain. It starts with the germination, because we sell the seeds, so we want to have the highest potential of germination for the companies that do professionally sow the cyclamen to make young plants. But then it goes for the uniformity, for them to transplant, for the growers to grow, be able to market in batch-wise the most uniform possible. Of course, resistance to like fungi, to climate conditions, that the plants grow normally, make the most uniform flowered plants, and then it continues with the chain. So for this, we are also processing to some shelf life tests. We do that in Holland, where they test for transport simulation, they test for store simulation, and then for shelf life at the consumer. So these are new parameters that are included in the breeding program. But I think this is very nice because we want to be sure that our little babies please people wherever they are.
But it makes it a tough job and a long job as well.
Yeah,
it takes many years to create a new variety, doesn't it?
It takes about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So we are very patient, but it takes a lot of passion to do that. And this is the great fun about our job.
I love the push and pull. We were at dinner last night with your breeder, Celine, and she's very slow. You're very quick because you want to sell it. And somewhere you meet in the middle, which is great.
Exactly. And we work with nature. So
yeah, of course.
I like to say our job is all about love because you love the beauty, but you love the mystery of nature because of course, there is a lot of science behind it, but there's also always a little point of interrogation where you're not sure. Will it work out or will it not? So when Celine shows us the first hybrid, it's always a kind of magic because you see, oh wow, this is a succeeded cross versus. So we also need to know how to throw away because a lot of tests are not positive, and then you forget them and you continue. This is about cyclamen breeding.
And what would be really like the holy grail? What is the cyclamen that everybody wants to create? There could be a few.
I think there's so many. I think there's so many, and it is limitless because cyclamen is a plant that has a lot of mutations, so the perspectives are pretty much infinite. But
it depends on whether you can fix those mutations and get them
exactly
so good from seed as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Final question then. 2 cool season plants that we know very well: cyclamen, and pansies.
Yes.
Which one would win in a boxing match?
Oh, that's a fairly boxing match. If we look on seed size, probably cyclamen would win.
Yeah.
If we look at number of plants,
but in strength, endurance.
They are both fantastic. And actually, I would say it's a draw on that one because make a combination with mini cyclamen and pansies, it makes a fantastic colored bowl in front of your house. So no match here. I think it's only compliment.
I think it's a very good political answer and one that I agree with as well. Recently, I planted up cyclamen with Princettia, and they look beautiful, the colours, and so really, I think people should get into cool season planting a lot more because too many people just let the begonias fade all the way through October, November. There's a yellow mushy mess. They don't replant, but get rid of the begonias, put the cyclamen.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm sure you would have heard of the Christmas cactus, and I cannot wait to introduce you to Sarah Gerard-Jones, who's known as the plant rescuer online, because we're going to be catching up about all things Christmas cacti and other Christmassy things as well. Welcome to the podcast, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you? It looks like you've got a tree out of the top of your head.
I know, this is my great big yucca that I rescued from a local yoga hall, which is in my background here. It's about, 8 foot tall or something.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that's the one I've seen in your reels, actually. Are you going to dress it with some Christmas baubles? Or...
Probably not, no. But I do have a Norfolk Island pine that I use as my Christmas tree that comes inside every year. So that's been decorated.
Me too. I'm not having a Christmas tree this year. The Norfolk Island pine is the only tree I'm having in the house with some miniature baubles on, just because I feel like I should. But otherwise, I'm very, very low on Christmas decorations because we're not going to be at home for Christmas this year, so it's pointless. But I do love Christmas plants.
Yeah, no, totally. I love them too. And actually, I don't go mad on decorations because I feel my house is already too busy with plants. If I get involved, I actually hate Christmas cards as well because I think they're messy. It's just too much, with 200 plants in the house, it's too messy with decorations. So I'm very low key. I just put a little bit of lights on my Norfolk Island pine and that's me done.
I love that. You're an absolute classic plant addict collector. You can't have anything else because it looks too messy, but you can have 200 plants.
Exactly. Probably more now, actually. But, yeah.
Well, so this year I've got a really lovely orange poinsettia, which is starting to turn peachy colour. So, I guess that's breeding for you, and it's now sort of going more pinky. And what else do I have? I have a couple of calanchoe, which are flowering, which are really, really pretty. I haven't done anything with cyclamen or amaryllis. Oh, no, that's not true. I do. See, there you go. That's when you forget the plants that you've got. I do have amaryllis with 2 beautiful stems on, hopefully will flower in a few weeks. But the one plant I really want to talk to you about is the Christmas cactus. What do you think of Christmas cactus?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm just obsessed. I mean, you know me, I love cacti and I just absolutely adore Christmas cactus. I think they are just the most majestic plant and so long lived. I think there's something so special about the plants that are passed down through generations. And there's something, just really lovely about that. It makes me think of families and, love and all that kind of stuff, which is quite weird because nobody in my family has one. And I wish they had one that they could pass down to me. But because of that, I went out and searched for an old one that kind of had some history. So I was looking on Gumtree, or was it Facebook Marketplace, one of those secondhand websites, and I saw an old Christmas cactus that looked really sad. And because I love rescuing plants and I love Christmas cactus, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to go and get that. And what was really sad about that was when I turned up, I realized it was when the person had died, what do you call that again? It was a house clearance.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so that was really quite sad. And this Christmas cactus looked really limp and very sad, like it had been neglected in the house for many, many months. And it was actually the owner's son that was there and sort of clearing out the house. And that's why he wanted to sell the plants, because he didn't really like plants. But he told me it was about 25 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I have that in my collection now. And it is my most prized possession. I absolutely love it. I feel like the custodian of that plant. And I was so happy that last year it bloomed for the first time since I've had it. So that was a really special moment. So yeah, I just find the history and how long lived they are something really special.
That's so nice. And actually, the person who did have that Christmas cacti at the time, they would have seen it flower at Christmas. So it's like somebody has enjoyed that plant flowering each Christmas for years. Like if it's 20 plus years old, someone's had so much enjoyment from it and now you've got it. That's so beautiful. Oh, that's like really Christmas.
And I'm so happy that it didn't get thrown away. I'm so happy it came to me and nobody else, because I really cherish that plant. I absolutely love it. And I keep it outside in summer. I don't know if you do that with your plants, but I find that it absolutely loves being outside in semi-shade all summer. And then I leave it out quite late, actually, well into the autumn. Wow. I bring it in when it drops maybe below 5 degrees or thereabouts. And then I bring it inside. And because they're short day plants as well, I feel like that really helps it burst into bloom. And they really do look spectacular if you put them outside in the summer and then bring them back in, because they've had, what's natural to them, the right light, and they've been rained on and kind of as nature intended, really. So I find that their blooms are far more spectacular if you put them outside during summer.
That's a great tip. Hey, you're not called the plant rescuer for nothing, are you? You really do rescue plants and know about them. Yeah, that's a really good tip, actually, putting them outside in the summer.
The only downside is slugs. So when you bring it back inside, you have to check for slugs, because that's happened to me numerous occasions. I found a slug making its way across the kitchen.
I've been there. You're like, how did that get in here? Oh, exactly. Yeah, just brought the plants in. I love that. Do you have any Christmas cacti care tips, apart from putting it outside, like watering levels, that kind of thing?
Well, like I say, they're short day plants, which means that they need over 12 hours of darkness to produce buds. So lots of people will say to me, oh, mine never flowers. And that could be the case there. If you've got artificial grow lights in your house, that can interfere with the production of the buds. So if you're not seeing flowers, check that could be possibly what's going on. But of course, they're epiphytic cacti, not desert cacti. So they do need a little bit more water than your general desert cacti would. So I do water when it dries out, but in winter I water a lot less. I sometimes go 4 weeks without watering it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can overwater really easily in winter. There's not enough light for it really to be doing much, so therefore they don't need as much water. And as far as the substrate goes, because I think people get confused about what to plant them in, if you remember that they're an epiphyte and they grow on trees, if you add a lot of bark to the substrate, that mimics their natural environment. So it's a very airy kind of substrate, plenty of oxygen around the roots.
That's really good tips, actually. Like, just always remember what the natural environment is for any of our plants, really. Just really think about that, and that comes into play, doesn't it? I'm just sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, my dog, I can hear the dog, sorry.
I can't hear him.
And any minute she's going to come down and bark, and she done this to me yesterday. So I was literally sitting here thinking, oh, here we go, she's going to bark. No, not yet. Any second.
My cats usually join me on Zooms, which is really embarrassing because I know I've got a plant sticking out the back of my head here, but normally I have a tail that's obscuring my face as well.
Your cats
very unprofessional.
Beautiful. I see them in your stories. It's like, oh, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, they're Devon Rex cats. They've got kind of crimped hair. But they always come into Zooms because it's the only time I sit down. So they come along and join me then. I'm like, brilliant.
This is the
Thanks
time
for that,
they need
guys.
attention, of course. Yes, absolutely. I've got a big Christmas cactus. It's actually, I placed it strategically in my husband's office because it looks so majestic when it flowers that I feel like that's going to really pull him into the plant world. I feel like
That's
he's going
a great idea.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I see why you love them so much now. And it's now budding up. I mean, there's quite a lot of buds on it, and it's quite big. So I'm really excited that it's going to flower. It's a lovely kind of deep pinkish color, but inside white. And when you look really close, it looks like glitter. Like, don't they? The flowers look kind of shimmery and glittery.
They are stunning. The flowers are so beautiful. But I must check, do you have a true Christmas cactus? Because a lot of them are labeled as Christmas cactus, but aren't actually Christmas cactus. But I'm sure you, being you, knowing all about plants, you know what you're talking about.
But Sarah, I didn't know until maybe 2 or 3 years back when my mum bought me a Christmas cactus. She said to me, here's a Christmas cactus. She said, I saw it in the shop and I thought you'd like it. I was like, oh, that's so lovely. Thank you very much. And then it flowered at Easter. And I was like, what did I do here? Oh, springish time. And I was like, what's happening here? I thought it was Christmas because it was meant to flower at Christmas. And it wasn't until then that I realized that they're not all Christmas cacti, are they?
That's right. You've got Thanksgiving cacti and you've got Easter cacti. So that was probably what you had.
Yeah, I
imagine
Easter cacti. And I do have a little one that has white flowers that flowers a little earlier than Christmas. So I think that is a Thanksgiving cactus. And I know that it depends on the shape of the foliage, doesn't it? But
of the cladodes. Yeah, they're called cladodes.
Cladodes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So how does the shape affect it? How do you know?
So if a Thanksgiving cactus has horned cladodes, so like spiky cladodes, just as in the shape, not to touch spiky. So it looks like kind of a horned devil. Christmas cactus have got sort of softly scalloped cladodes, and then the Easter cactus has very rounded and even more softly scalloped cladodes. So that's how you tell what you have. And also the pollen is a different color. So if you have a Christmas cactus, the pollen, not the flower color, we're not talking about the flower color here, but the pollen is pink. Whereas if you have a Thanksgiving cactus, regardless of the color of the flower, look at the pollen and it will be yellow. Right. So that's a good way to check as well.
Great tips. I'm absolutely sure the one in my husband's office is a Christmas cactus, but my little one, I'm not so sure. So I'm literally going to look at it while you are on here before we finish up. The Christmas cactus, I do have to, like you were saying about watering, I do actually have to water it more than any other cacti that I have here. So, I think that this is definitely going to be a Thanksgiving cactus, but it hasn't flowered. So
well, interestingly, it's very difficult. They don't sell true Christmas cactus are not available for sale anymore, other than if you get an old one.
Yes. So the one in my husband's office is an old one. It's really big. It was a rescue plant some years ago. So I'm absolutely sure that that's what it is. But this one is, I would say, a Thanksgiving cactus. What do you think?
That is 100% a Thanksgiving cactus. I can see that the cladodes are horned. So that is definitely a Thanksgiving cactus. Yeah. And also you don't really go on the timings of the flowers either, because they can flower multiple times a year and at different times. So you might have a Christmas cactus that decides to flower in April. So you can't tell really by when it blooms. It's only by the shape of the cladodes and the colour of the pollen.
Let's face it, Sarah, that's common names for you, right? Because
that is common names for you.
We put common names on plants, which are fun, and I get it. I think that's excellent. We should do it, but it can be a little bit misleading sometimes, right?
Well, that's right. I mean, a lot of people, because I did a reel about this recently, just telling people how you know which plant you have. And a lot of people went, well, that can't be possible. I don't have a Thanksgiving cactus because it's blooming in Easter. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
right.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, common names are a problem.
We've just muddled you all up. Common names are a problem. Your Cleodes may be spiky, but not spiky. They might be round or not. You might have pink or white pollen or yellow, or your flowers could be white, red, pink, or anything else. But what we will say is just celebrate the fact that you have one and it's flowering any time of year.
Absolutely. and if anybody doesn't have one, I strongly suggest you get one. They are the most beautiful plants. The blooms are, the depth of colour in the blooms is just extraordinary. And the shape, they're fascinating plants. I recommend everybody gets one.
I completely agree with you. Thank you so much, Sarah, the plant rescuer, known for rescuing plants, plant rescue boxes, and some amazing content online as well. Where can listeners find you online, please?
I'm on Instagram at The Plant Rescuer. I'm also now on YouTube at The Plant Rescuer and TikTok at _Plant Rescuer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and happy Christmas to you.
And to you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So as part of our special Christmas episode, I'm back with Guy from Morel in France, and we're going to talk briefly about indoor cyclamen, which can be a popular choice at this time of year. Okay, Guy, how do we keep an indoor cyclamen happy? Give us the secrets to success.
Well, it's not too complicated. First of all, you pick a bright and a place where you have enough light. Mm-hmm. So it would be next to a window. Or
so right in front of the window?
It can be close to the window if it's not in a south window, so not too much direct sunlight.
Okay.
But cyclamen requires light. Mm-hmm. A place where it is not too hot, so don't put it next to your heater because it's going to be thirsty and will dry faster, and you'll need to put water more often. So bright light, cool temperatures. You water it, it's easy to water it. Cyclamen is so nice. When they are thirsty, they kind of tend to bend the flowers across the canopy. So this is a sign that they're probably thirsty. You take the pot, you weigh it. If the upper part of the soil is dry, then you can give some water. So we would recommend that you have maybe a saucer. You give water in the saucer, and half an hour after you have been watered, if all the water is not taken up, then you pull it away. Normally this should be enough that the pot, the substrate, sucks up the water till the top. The one mistake is that people overwater the plants because they water directly in the heart of the plant.
Yeah, that's a no-no, right?
That's not so good. So they need water, but they don't need too much water. So they like to have a little bit of water and fresh air also to be active. Okay. And ultimately, they like to get some fertilizer every once in a while.
See, we wouldn't usually imagine fertilizing at that time of year, so that's quite a habit change for many people, I believe.
At least once a month, you can either use a general liquid fertilizer that you mix with your water, or you have these little fertilizer sticks that you can comfortably plant in the substrate. spray, and that will be enough for granting a longer flowering.
Okay. Because trying to avoid botrytis, kind of too much moisture in the center, is key as well. And how we remove the faded flowers is better to pull them rather than cut them as well, isn't it?
There's a simple trick. You take the flowers by the stem, you twist a little bit the stem like half a turn, and then you pull out firmly. This will make that the bottom of the flower is nicely separated from the comb. You will have no remaining piece of the stem that sticks to the comb, and this little piece of stem is likely to get botrytis and to rot, and then to contaminate the whole canopy. So don't be shy. Pull off the flowers, because the plant will continue to produce it.
And if there is, I've got one at home that I had a few weeks ago that has got no flowers on anymore. Maybe that just needs a feed, because it's used up all its reserves. So I need to do that at the weekend. Okay. And after they have finished flowering, like say we are growing cyclamen for the Christmas period, they're naturally going to finish flowering sometime in January, February. And do we plant them in the garden afterwards, or just discard them?
No, don't discard them if you have a garden.
But they're always good compost.
Definitely, any plant will make a good compost, but you could also plant them in a shaded area.
Okay.
And just forget them there, bury some leaves over them, and some of your compost that is already ready-made. And you will see them coming up again in September.
Okay. And then they'll be a typical garden plant beneath trees and shrubs.
Exactly. Their natural plant habitat is under trees in the forest. So this is why they need light, but no direct sunlight.
Okay. Great Christmas tips for growing a cyclamen. Any varieties you particularly recommend? I know you've got a red one coming through Satisfaction, but I don't know if that will be in front of the public for another year or so, will it? That's a lovely red.
The red Satisfaction is actually now coming on the market, and it's going to be a perfect plant for Christmas because it is red with a light white rim on top of it. So it's
going to rival a poinsettia, I think.
And it's just gorgeous red. Father Christmas comes and give you one or two presents more.
But that would be found in the garden centres already, or not?
You can find some already.
Really?
In the garden centres.
Oh, interesting. And if we can't find that, any other tips of varieties to look for?
Well, actually, the curlies, which is a fringed varieties, you can find these in the garden centres. Or I should say, thinking of Christmas, we have a variety called Metallis, which has a silver leaf, which comes in red and white and makes a nice combination.
Excellent. Thank you very much for these Christmas cyclamen tips.
You're welcome, Michael.
Hi everyone, it's Ellen Mary here. I've got some top tips to help you keep your Christmas tree thriving over the Christmas period. Now, I'm going to just admit to you before we go any further that I actually don't have a Christmas tree this year. I have a Norfolk Island pine, which I've had for years. It lives indoors and I put a few baubles on it just for fun. But we're away this Christmas, so I'm not getting a tree. But in the past, I have experimented with just about every single different kind of Christmas tree that you could possibly get. So I feel kind of well versed in helping you out to keep them thriving. Also, some years ago, I visited a Christmas tree farm when I was filming for a local TV station, and I had a tour of the Christmas tree farm, and the guy was absolutely amazing, and we'd done a really awesome piece, and I've never forgotten all of the tips that he gave us. So I'm going to give them to you. So first of all, if you are buying a fresh new Christmas tree, you want to look at its health, just like you would when you're going to the shop to buy a houseplant. You don't want it if it looks brown, if there looks like there could be any disease, if you rub your hands along the stems, you don't really want the needles to be falling off. So just look at the tree, look at the shape of it, check that you're happy with it. Don't forget to check the size, because it's really misleading. Make sure you know how big your space is. You can easily get home with a tree that is way too big for your space. Now, once you've got it home, if it's not in a container potted already, which in my opinion is by far the best thing to do anyway, but if it's been grown and chopped back, and you're picking it up from the supermarket or a local nursery where it's already wrapped and not in a pot,
you're going to need to give the trunk a cut at the bottom. So you're going to need to trim it. So the standard advice is to saw about 1/2 inch of the trunk off. So that means that you'll be getting rid of like the hardened tree sap. And make sure that the tree can absorb all of the water. So if you don't do that, the tree's going to really struggle to absorb water because the cut will have been cut some time ago and hardened over. If you can't saw off 1/2 inch of a trunk, another thing you can do is kind of score around the base of the tree, the base that's going to be sitting in the water, but quite deep scores because you need to be able to get that water in. And then you need to get it in water ASAP. So you don't want any of that, trunk that's been cut or scored to be sitting outside and hardening over. But trimming it off is best if possible. Now, you might think because it's a tree and it's indoors and it's only for Christmas that it won't need watering. But actually, water is the one thing you really need to keep on top of to keep it thriving throughout the festive season. Otherwise, lots of the needles will fall to the floor and your presents will be covered in pine needles. So make sure you've got a really good, sturdy stand. And make sure that you can get plenty of water into the pot that it's in or the stand that it's in. So don't place it next to heating. Don't place it under aircon or like a heat source, or just put it in a nice corner where there's kind of indirect light so you can see it and all of your decorations glistening away. But not indirect light, not next to a fire, not next to heating, because that does mean that some of the needles will drop a little quicker. And just make sure you're checking the water every single day. They can drink a lot of water, so you want to be making sure the stand that it's in is filled with water all of the time. Keep it submerged. And if you've got one in a pot, of course, keep the pot moist as well, and you can plant it outside afterwards. If you have one that isn't grown in a pot, and so it's in a trunk, you've got your trunk and you cut off the bottom and you put it into a stand. Don't forget you can use it to mulch your garden. You can use it to make things like with the stems. Don't let it go to waste. Or you can chop it up into small pieces and use it to mulch on top of pots. You can put some into the compost. And if you don't have any of that ability or facility, then you can take it to a recycle centre where they will do it for you in the green recycling. So not too hot, not too cold, plenty of water. Make sure you've given it a chop at the bottom if it's already cut and not in a pot. And essentially make sure that you're picking one that looks really healthy and is the right size for your home. Happy Christmas!
Hello, you trout.
Hello, I know where you are. I can tell from the plants behind you.
Where?
You're in Suffolk, you are.
Wrong, Paris. You tart.
You wish you were in Paris. Paris is one of my favourite cities in the world.
Really?
Yeah, there's something like about it. I don't know, like it makes me emotional.
Really? That's a really difficult thing to achieve with you.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
Oh my God, all I wear is this hat these days. Sorry about that.
You do. I've seen you in it. Like actually yesterday you were wearing it when we were recording as well. I think you have an issue of heating. Or maybe you don't want to let the heat, because the heat comes out of your head, right? You're keeping it all in.
It's more about just being on the verge of a haircut.
I don't want to talk about hair. I'm having a massive midlife stress.
An accidental mullet.
I was telling my sister yesterday, we were talking about hair, and I said I haven't been to the hairdressers to have a haircut since July 2022. So nearly
and it all
a
went
year
a
and
bit
a half.
wrong.
They cut it so bad that I'm traumatized, and I've cut my own hair since then. But yeah, I'm going grey really badly, and because my hair's so black, like your hair's really dark, like mine, isn't it? So when you have grey hair, it really stands out. And I was like,
but as a guy, I'm excited about it. I don't imagine girls are.
Exactly, but the thing is, I kind of am. This is so nothing to do with plants, but I think this is relevant for what's going on
right now because I think, like, my husband's going grey, and
What is this wisdom that's on the way?
people will say to him, like, oh, you know, you're aging really well, or like you look really good, or oh, look at your grey hair, you look so distinguished now, or there's something about
distinguished. Yeah, I hate that word.
there's something about that middle age for men where it's all about experience and knowledge, and you look good. Do you know what I mean? But for women, you go grey, and it's like, oh, she's over the hill now. Well, she's no good. We can't employ her. Or and also, like, if you let it go, your hair go grey, other women will say, oh, she's let her hair go grey, hasn't she? Why didn't she just dye that hair? And I'm kind of like, I actually want to let it go grey, because why wouldn't I want to do that? But I feel really, like I have to dye it.
But what you say is it's quite interesting, because people generally, obviously to protect my species for a moment, people wouldn't generally compliment men in the younger years like they would women.
Right.
Like, why do they miss out that part with men? Why are they suddenly valuable when they're older? Isn't that weird?
Isn't that an interesting?
I wonder if it's something to do with like mating and virility.
Yeah, it probably is. Like, in our genes, we're like, well, now the woman has grey hair, she's over the hill, she can't have children anymore. But for men, they're like mature and masculine, and they're like manly, and they're like, you know, yes, I'm going to sow my oats and have children with you. I don't know. How weird. Anyway, this is a big thing in my life right now. I want to go grey, but I daren't go grey.
You should look up, there's a presenter I work with on QVC called Pippa Gordon. Gordon? Yeah, I think so. And she really, when she started going grey, she was really like, right, okay, I'm embracing this. And really, beautifully. Also, Keely, that does the Elemis presentations, she's let hers go grey, and she was kind of blonde. And it looks really lovely. Yeah, you just got to embrace it.
You do, and I think
when people are shy of it, that's when it does stand out almost.
Yeah. I think you do have to go with it. I do think it's a trend. No, I appreciate it. Like, I think that it's becoming a bit of a trend in that women are going, hang on a minute, why should I do what society tells me to do? Like, we should embrace going grey. This is part of life, you know.
Oh, totally.
And there's some beautiful, like, you can blend it in a little bit, so as it's growing, it's not like a big beacon of light. You can blend it. But I'm really looking at ways to do it, because my hair is black. Really cool. Like, it's always been black. So having grey means it just stands out. Like, so I'm gonna try and see what I can do. Like, I might be grey next time we see each other in person.
Oh, Ellen. Well, I have to say, it's been scientifically proven that I have the worst hat hair known to man.
You do.
Look at this.
Yeah,
I wear a hat all day.
Yeah.
Absolutely screwed. Look at that.
But to be fair, you just said you wear a hat all day. If you wear a hat all day, you're gonna get crazy hair, right?
Really?
No.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you wear it all day.
A bit cocked then. Oh, Ellen, honestly. In a minute, I'm gonna have to get my dinner out of the oven. I'm gonna have to eat with you. Is that okay, darling?
As long as you don't like slurp it or talk, like, don't speak with your mouth open. Don't speak with your mouth. Don't eat with your mouth open.
You know, when you're just jumping from one thing to the other, and I'm like, and I don't, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I hate it, but I also love it when I look back, and I'm like, how did you achieve all that, Michael? Wow.
Yeah. Pat on the back, Michael. I did good today. Yeah.
I just had a little chat with my neighbour, which is lovely.
Oh, that's really cute. Do you think she listens to the podcast?
I don't know. But I'm only going to say nice things, because there's only nice things to say. Because, obviously the house is on Airbnb, so I want to make sure that she's kind of happy with it as well, because it's, at the end of the day, it's semi-detached, so of course. Yeah. And she was cool. So, yeah, it was really nice. I gave her an amaryllis that just arrived from Farmer Gracie, so that was
cool. Yeah, it's really nice. I need to contact Farmer Gracie. My landlady from Nourish, I've left now, like, I've moved out. Farmer Gracie sent it there, and she messaged me and said, you have a parcel from Farmer Gracie. And I was like, well, you've been a wonderful landlady. Keep the amaryllis and have a beautiful flower.
Well, that's kind of what I was doing, You should have pretended it. Oh, no, it'll have the wrong name on, wouldn't it? Sorry. Also, I came back. This is a little celebration box for honest communications as well.
Oh, how
I'm going to
exciting.
save it to because I'm doing an Instagram live with the Garden Riddler and the guys.
Yeah.
It's like loose men. Don't anyone knows up at guys. Honestly, boys, they're so good. They're so dirty. Look.
This is cute. So you've got Prosecco and what is
Did
that?
you get one? You might have some sitting at your house in Norwich. Maybe your landlady's going to have some Prosecco and a cookie.
Holly knows that I'm in the US, so I think she won't have sent me one.
Oh, no. Well, do you know what? It's funny, because when I saw it all going around social media at the time, I thought to myself, I was like, oh, I really wanted one of those. Little did I know that it was sitting here in Suffolk.
It was well worth returning to Suffolk for, wasn't it?
Ellen, can I talk to you about Christmas and December? Because this is obviously our Christmassy gossip, so we will make reference to the festive season. But I did a radio interview for BBC Radio Suffolk the other day, and it was talking about poinsettia, and it was only on December the 1st, right?
Yeah.
And when I tuned in and they're playing Christmas songs and this, and this, it felt like it was December the 24th, with all the Christmas that was there. Since when did radio stations and TV stations immerse themselves in Christmas from all directions on December 1st? It was crazy.
Since forever. Has it not always been like that?
I want to wait a bit.
Yeah, December the 1st is way too early for me, I've got to say.
But it's like they just flipped a switch and suddenly, right, we're in Christmas mode, and mad.
But actually, at least it's December. At least they weren't doing it in November, October, and September. Do you know what I mean? I think if I can stomach it if it is at least December. If it's before that,
the calendar moves over to December the 1st, Christmas in your face.
In your face. What are you doing for Christmas this year, Michael? Have you got anything exciting planned?
I'm going to go to some friends later on the day. My Airbnb is populated at Christmas, so I'll obviously drive up from my doodah's ready. I'm going to get it out. So I'll obviously drive up on the day for that, and then see my parents on Boxing Day. So, but you know me, I'm not a Christmas thing. I love the year that I was on a flight from Hong Kong on Christmas Day. That was the best Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it's forced fun, Ellen Mary. Talk about that amongst yourselves for half a minute while I get my dinner.
If you want me to talk about forced fun at Christmas, you probably would regret asking me, because I'm not into it in any way, shape or form. But no, because I don't agree that you should be forced to do something that you don't enjoy or believe in or whatever else. But let me tell you something more exciting about that, so that I don't rant. You and I are both Grinches, really, and I have a neighbour who, everyone in the neighbourhood puts all of their Christmas lights up, and the guy around the corner on this front door has a Grinch, it is a whole lit up Grinch on the front door, and
Grinch is still a decoration.
Honestly, but it is so brilliant. I love it. However, this morning I went to University of North Carolina Charlotte campus, and they have a Macmillan greenhouse which is full of orchids and houseplants and whatever. But I think I could be an orchid fanatic. I think I could have a house that is full of loads of orchids and rare orchids and love them.
Okay, well, I support that, Ellen Mary.
Thank you. So I went along because I knew that they had loads of orchids flowering at the moment. And so I went along there, and I found an orchid that actually looks like the Grinch. No
really?
Joke. It is amazing. And I'm going to show you this picture and see if you can see it. Can you see that? Never mind your food. Look, can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Does that look like the Grinch?
I totally see that.
There is actually an orchid that looks like the Grinch. It made me feel very happy. Did I get the name of it? I have to take the names of a picture of all of the names as well.
Ellen, do you want to see how much of a boy I am?
Sanguinea. What? Why? What are you doing?
I just heated up my food in the oven, roasted vegetables and a quiche in the middle. Oh, I don't know if I can show you. But
don't be slurping your food at me.
Right.
You're eating it out of the roasting tray.
But to be honest, why not? Why not? Really, why not?
Oh, there's no judgment here. When I live on my
to another plate.
Yeah,
when this is ready, why don't we normalise roasting trays as plates? Seriously, it makes
There's
so
no
much
judgment.
sense.
There's no judgment from me at all.
I wouldn't mind
because
if you did.
when I live on my own, I eat and do random stuff like that. I think
Like
it's when
what?
you're on your
Tell
own.
me,
Like
tell me.
if you were with someone else, you would probably then plate it up because you're sitting eating together. But when you're on your own, it's like, why would I plate it up and then have to wash that and the roasting tray as well? I get it.
What else
It's
would you
fun.
do that's crazy?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going
want
to tell
to
you even
know.
when I do know.
I bet it's something to do with hummus.
I'm a complete messy pig when I live on my own.
Yeah,
I
I
am
know.
completely out of control. It's freeing. It's freeing.
Ellen,
Yeah.
I really hate the cleaning part.
Yeah, me too. I don't know.
Because the thing is, it just gets dirty afterwards. And the only way to stop it getting dirty afterwards is just to sit still and do nothing. Like, sit in the room like, oh my God.
And also, when you have plants, things do get dirty. Like there's just from watering it, repotting it, just general plants and dust and maybe some spiders.
Especially in an apartment, I find as well.
Yeah, things get mucky because it's nature. Like whatever.
Oh,
You know.
this cheese is rather nice, Ellen.
What is it?
It's from Waitrose. Oh, cheese and something.
That's posh. That is.
Yeah,
Waitrose.
nice.
Going to Waitrose.
Oh, I've had a right day today, Ellen. My car's been in for a service. I was reminded that I hadn't bought the tax yet. Because I hadn't had the reminder. Because you get it in the post and it hadn't come through. But I thought they were sending you email reminders as well. But yeah.
Don't you just have it on a annual renew?
No, I should have done, to be honest with you.
So basically, you're admitting to driving illegally on the podcast. Yeah.
But only for a couple of days.
That's all right. That's all right then.
No, but I think because when you pay in December, it goes from the 1st. So I think as long as you pay in December, I don't think that's a problem.
Right. That's fair enough then. Good. So you had your car service. What else did you do?
Well, I was with my parents as well.
Oh, that's nice. How are your parents?
Very nice, thank you. Yes.
Good.
I had a typical parents' meal for lunch.
Was it like potatoes, veg, and a bit of gravy?
Yeah, shepherd's pie, and I got told off for having too much sauce. Oh, that's enough of that on the HP.
I love it.
Only in that context, you feel like you're 10 years old again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I don't think you'll ever escape that feeling. Like I have that sometimes as well.
It's mad.
You did say on our gossip last time that you realised your dad was on Instagram. You do realise that
I'm not
your
sure.
parents.
I can't confirm.
Oh, you think he might be, but you don't have to be on Instagram to view Instagram, do you? Or do you have to have an account?
Lurk.
Right, so you can lurk without even having an account. So he could be listening to our podcast.
Oh my God. I never thought of that. Jesus. Oh my God.
I don't think my mum listens to the podcast, and I'll tell you why. Because
You can't be sure.
if I'm recording, say I'm recording with you now, and I've said to her, because she'll FaceTime me sometimes, and I'll say, don't FaceTime me because I'm recording a podcast, because then obviously the sound will come up. And she'll say to me, are you filming for the podcast, or where do you put those videos? So she doesn't forget that the podcast is a sound and not the video. Do you see what I mean? So I don't think she listens.
But to be fair, she's actually maybe more intelligent than we imagine, because you do lots of podcasts with video on YouTube now. So
yeah, I don't think she
knows the platform's better than us.
Probably, yeah. No, I don't think so.
But imagine if our parents are our biggest stalkers and we don't even know.
They know everything that we've said and like where we've been and what we've been doing. Yeah.
Oh my
Probably.
God. So I went back early to the garage and I had to write some articles, and so I kind of went back on purpose. And I know it sounds opposite to anything you might want to do, but I was actually quite happy to wait for the car then. I was like, in my head, I was like, please don't be ready too soon.
Yeah, because then it will give you some time to do that.
And at that moment where you kind of, this is all you can do in that moment. There's nothing to distract me because I'm not at home or anything. I'm literally in a car garage. And that's the time that I wrote my very best articles, Ella Mary.
In a garage.
Oh, dear.
It's funny how you do need to like claim time like that, especially when you're freelance, don't you think? Just like if I'm on a flight or a train or I'm traveling and I'm not driving, I love that time because I can just do other stuff.
It's dangerous because I always expect more from myself than I can do, because usually I'll then get on the train and I'll have to do this and this, and I'll just feel really like an amoeba.
Yeah, some flights I don't really know if that's the right word. Amoeba.
Are you in your she shed?
Am I in my she shed? No, I'm actually sitting on the bed because someone's downstairs painting the stairs.
I thought you had in your new house a playroom.
I do. I've got my own playroom, which is the first time I've ever had it. But there's two guys
Since you were a
painting.
teenager, obviously.
They're staining the floors and stuff, so I can't be done. So I'm currently in my bedroom.
Is it blood?
Bedroom.
Have you killed someone?
No, well, it's a new house and the stairs. Oh,
it's a new house and someone died already.
We've had 3 new front doors already, and we're now on our third set of stairs that have been replaced. Not all of them, but some of them, and now they're staining.
Very shocking.
It's just so bad. I don't think some of the contractors just don't really care enough. They just do what they're told to do without thinking about the detail. Yeah. I'm sure that's not all contractors, I might add, but these ones. Anyway, we're there now, but I can't actually get down the stairs because I can't step on them yet, so I'm sitting on my bed.
Where's the toilet?
The toilet's next. There's a ensuite toilet in the bedroom.
Well, you know me, I always pee in the sink, so.
Oh, God. Gross. Actually, talking about that, when I was driving back from...
Talking about what? Peeing in sinks?
Peeing, yeah. This is really gross, but when I was on my way back from the gardens this morning, I actually saw a man by the side of the road peeing into a bottle, so that was nice. He was facing into the road. It's not like he turned his back and went the other way. He was literally peeing into the bottle, so nice.
Ellen,
see all sorts.
I had to pee in a Paris metro station once in the daytime.
But how?
I can't quite remember. You know, sometimes something happens and you can't remember the exact way you did it. But yeah.
Oh, but
that's my claim to fame.
But how did you have a bottle?
I was behind a low fence.
I don't. I'm sort of speechless, I guess.
Me too, darling. Me too. Yeah. Anyway, tell me more about yourself.
I want to talk about plants.
Oh, all right, go on then.
It makes me happy. Honestly, yeah. I was in a right old grump the last few days. No, not a grump, just a little bit.
I was the same yesterday. Oh.
Just not grumpy, just like maybe I hadn't been out enough or in gardens enough. Genuinely, I went to the greenhouse today and I walked in and I immediately felt like a rush of happiness and creativity all in one go. It's like, well, I want this feeling every single day.
I know, but that's where you just need to go there to top it up, and it's so easy to forget that, and I do all the time.
Yeah, because you can stay home and do all of your work, and it's amazing to see your friends and go out and do stuff. But for me, if I don't get that like rush of colour,
totally.
Nature and flowers and the sensory thing, then I literally go into meh, and I was meh for a few days.
I just had to check. I'm doing an Instagram live with those loose boys, but it's at 7:30. I thought it was 7. I was like, oh god, I'm going to have to eat my dinner in front of them as well.
It's now 10 to 7 there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes. This is the last episode of the series, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, us, on another series.
Well done, everyone.
Well done, everyone involved. Gareth, our amazing editor, and all of the guests have been awesome.
Melon.
We have, because series 13. So I think we first started recording in 2018. I think it was like October 2018, and then it was released. I've got a feeling February 19.
And I'm not sure.
It's something like that.
Someone asked me, like, how did you start it? How did you come up with the idea? And I can't even remember the conception. Can you?
all I can remember is that we used to talk about plants all of the time. And then it was kind of early-ish days with podcasts, certainly for plant podcasts, because there weren't so many when we started. And we were just like, well, this is a great opportunity to talk about plants more. And if anyone listens, that's great, but no bother if not. Like, do you know what I mean? We just wanted to do it. And we did. And then I think we've got hooked, because next February, I think we are 5 years in. And I was telling someone the other day, we've got something around about 650,000 downloads now. So we next year we will have 1 million downloads. That is mind blowing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So also thanks to everyone who does listen to us talking about peeing in bottles at the side of the road when you think you're going to hear about.
To be honest, that's what brings the viewers in. Yeah. What? We just passed 100th episode, or 200? 100? No. What was it?
No. I don't know.
No,
it must be 200. If we've been going for 5 years.
It was great, whatever it was.
How can we not remember that though? Did we celebrate it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you must have.
We had the right PHA takeover.
I think we've got to be. It must be more like 200, because if it's 5 years and we do 12 episodes per series, yeah. So anyway, yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny because they always think that vegans will miss bacon, but I want to hazard a guess that you miss melted cheese.
I don't miss any of it.
Really? Not even melted cheese?
No, not anymore. Like, I think in the beginning you think you will, and maybe you do a little bit because your brain and stomach is so used to it. But after a while, you just don't. This doesn't even feature. And also, I know people have their opinions on the different flavored.
I've got no opinion on anything.
Like fake meats and stuff. But you can genuinely make things taste baconish if you were desperate to have that flavour now, because we've moved on so far.
Well, rumour has it I tasted bacon.
Rumour has it you tasted bacon. I'm sorry, but first of all, I'm gobsmacked. Secondly, it makes me want to vomit. And thirdly, who told you that?
I love your order of surprise. Oh, sorry, Ellen. My whooping cough was not getting any better.
So far, you're coughing.
I love having a Victorian illness.
Coughing, spluttering, and eating your dinner.
Sorry, right. I'm fully in the room now. What do you want from me?
I think I'm done with you now because you've said you tasted bacon. So I don't eat bacon. Yeah, green and pink is beautiful. That's my logo, Ellen Mary. I don't really use it anymore, but it was always green and pink. Beautiful colours. Mary Ellen. Yes, green and pink. See? Yeah. So pretty. Christmas cactus. Of course, we had Sarah Gerard Jones chatting about Christmas cactus on
Look at that orchid.
Episode.
Really nice one.
That's not real. Nice try. That's a Lego. Is that a Lego orchid?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So many Lego things now, botany-wise, you know? It's amazing, isn't it? Honestly.
That's really, really cool.
We also had the advice on poinsettia, and I think I kicked off something rather cool on Instagram recently.
What happened?
I think it was some of the loose gardeners, or certainly, well, it was Jenny from the allotment, Jenny's family allotment, who started looking around Lidl, because Lidl have a lot of these coloured poinsettias that a lot of people don't realise are out there. So then suddenly they're all tagging me when they're finding these beautiful bicolour poinsettias, and that was amazing, because that was such a moment for kind of, bringing new plants to the masses and stuff. And yeah, it was such a cool moment, and that shows that what we can do with kind of giving people new ideas.
Yeah, and that's really nice.
What was it? The lady from Plants for Presents, which do a lot of Christmas products, was like, she's seen more sales of like whites and pinks. So I feel like even though I spend a lot of time looking at new products, I don't always then see those on the shelves, because obviously, it's quite minor and here and here. But it's really cool to actually feel the movement of coloured poinsettias is moving away from red. And I really kind of feel that. Isn't that cool?
That's really, really cool. I got an orange poinsettia this year, and I was really excited about it. It's really orange.
Oh, like the kind of rustic colours. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's starting to go more peach now. So it's sort of a bit more peachy than it is orange, but it's very beautiful. And I was saying to my husband, oh, it's a really lovely colour. I really love this way better than just like the classic red ones, da da da. Yeah. And then about a week later, he came home with a little classic red poinsettia. And he was like, oh, I got you a plant. And I was so disappointed.
Ah, you bitch.
I know. I was like, well, thank you. And he was like, do you not like it? I was like, it's lovely. Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Well, I love them. We've got Andrea from Lazzuri on the podcast as well, talking about the poinsettias and the care. And I was there at their nursery on Friday, Lazzuri Genetics. And oh my God, seeing some of their new breeding. And I had some time with the breeder, and I'm going to write it up for Substack soon, but he told me about all the different bracts and like the different, there's actually a formation there because it looks kind of random, but there's actually kind of main bracts, shoulder bracts, and then other, like a ring of ones coming off the shoulders. And it's like really, really so cool. Yeah.
That's honestly. Really cool.
And the different colors. It's just.
Yeah. The different colours are wonderful. Like if you don't like red or you don't want red, there's so many other ones now.
But there's so much. It's funny because in their range, they've got 7 different reds and they all look the same. But of course, with breeding, it's a lot of what you don't see. So some will be easier to transport. They always look for a kind of a upright kind of cone shape so it fits in the sleeve as well. They always need blackout from the end of September. So if a variety doesn't need as much, that's obviously more economical. If it can be grown cooler, then it's more economical for the grower, but also a little bit easier in the home as well. Because of course, in the home, avoiding drafts is always advised, and when you take it home from the shop and keeping it warm. But as they're breeding ones that cope with cooler growing conditions for the grower, you've actually got ones that are easier for the consumer as well. So it's kind of one of those points where, they're not necessarily focusing on consumer, but the consumer's getting a benefit from what is happening behind the scenes as well. So, that's
really amazing. Like, as a consumer, you don't know any of that stuff. You just see the plant, you buy the plant because you like it, and 80%
that's it. Of the breeding, you don't see the results. Yeah. It's about kind of transport, growing, kind of strength of plant as well.
Amazing. So, that's cool. Really cool. And then the other one was cyclamen as well.
Yeah. So we had Guy from Morel talking about cyclamen, which was lovely. So and you had Sarah talking about Christmas cactus, right?
Yeah, Sarah talking about Christmas
cactus. She can get them to reflower.
Oh yeah, she has a beautiful one as well. And I thought mine was big, so I've got a big one that I bought here in North Carolina last year. It was already in flower. It was massive, and she messaged me at the time. She went, "Oh my God, is that yours?" And I said, "Yes." But hers is now bigger, so it's like a Christmas cactus competition. But yes, they're talking about those, and obviously we always call them Christmas cactus, but there's Easter cactus, Thanksgiving cactus, depending on the time of year they flower, and their foliage shapes are actually a little bit different. Like the tips of the foliage might be more pointy for Christmas or rounder for Easter, so it's very easy to think, oh, it's not flowering, it's it's dead or whatever, but actually it could be because it's an Easter cactus instead. Mine's just about starting to come into flower, so it is a Christmas cactus. And then Christmas trees as well. A little chat about Christmas trees. Are you having a Christmas tree this year?
I don't think so. I never really think of it, to be honest. I don't know. I guess because I'm not naturally Christmassy, or I don't think about it, and then suddenly something comes up later to the time, and then suddenly I'll have 14. I don't know.
Or you delivered a load for free from someone.
I think last year. Maybe I'd done Steph's Pat Lunch, and then we did a bit on trees, and then obviously I had all sorts of different things and trees, and Norfolk Island pines. There's obviously a houseplant tree. That's
what I've got, and I think did I last year? Last year I think I just put baubles on it, but I'm not getting a tree other than that, and we're not even here. We're going to the beach for Christmas, so completely opposite. So I'm not putting up anything. I've got a wreath, and that's it because it looks pretty.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonder crump, as you say. You always wonder crump.
I did a Chiswick Flower Market at the weekend selling books.
Yeah, how did it go?
But it made me think of that when you talk about decorations. My friend Lorna lent me some lights, and I wasn't sure how to turn them off, and I think they've been on in my boot all day while my car's been in for a service, just twinkling away. I'm crazy.
I
Decorated
think
his car inside.
they'd be like, he's got Christmas lights in the car and he's happy to sit waiting for the car. They must think you're nuts.
Dear. Yeah, so that was that. So it's all been happening, Ellen Mary. Jesus.
Well,
I can't wait to eat this cookie.
I think that is bringing us to the end of our little horty hangout.
Is it? Oh.
Yes.
Well, we're having a Christmas break, aren't we? Just because you're going to be on the beach.
We're having a Christmas break back on the 7th of January.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a few weeks. Give everyone some peace from listening to us in their ears. And I don't know. Does this mean I don't have to chat with you between now and the new year?
What?
Does it mean I don't have to chat with you between now and the new year?
Well, just manually,
just via WhatsApp. Yes, we've already got our next series kind of all planned in. So I think it's worth also, we must say thank you to our sponsors for this series, LAVA-LITE. So please go and check them out as well. They're our friends over at LAVA-LITE. Keep those fungus gnats at bay and all kinds of other things too for your houseplants. So yes, thank you so much to you guys, and hope you all have a lovely festive season. And if you are and do celebrate Christmas, I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, I hope you have a wonderful December.
Thanks. What, me? I'm just going to explain. A message about a wall.
Yeah, I am just going to explain to everyone what just happened. This does happen regularly. Michael tuned out in that moment because he was reading a message on his phone. He's paying no attention because he was reading something on his phone instead of finishing off the podcast. You are like
a message about a wall. All right.
You're like a naughty little boy. That's what you are like. And I don't want to keep you from your cookie any longer.
Okay, well, I'm not going to crack it open until I'm on this Instagram live, so,
Well, anyway, enjoy it. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Oh, I need to wash up my baking tray that I ate out of. See you later, darling.
Bye.
Good night. Happy Christmas, I mean.
Introducing our sponsors, LAVA-LITE. LAVA-LITE Plus, the orange one. LAVA-LITE Plus is a natural grow media all-rounder. It's perfect for borders and great as a pot topper, both in the home and the garden. It offers thermal protection for cold winter nights, as well as holding up to 25% moisture. Look out for it online and in your local gardening stores. The music for the Plant-Based podcast is part of the song Grow by Mikey James, and our editor is Gareth Patch of Semi Echo.